Flip card baseball instructions, video number 3. And we're going to look at ball in play. So we've had the pitch and none of those results happen, so the ball has now come into play. And there's various things that can happen when you put the ball in play. The first example obviously is a ground ball here. So that would just be a ground ball out straight away. You would flip the card, look at the ground ball section, get the ground ball out. So that's easy. Fly ball is exactly the same. Look at the fly ball section, get the fly ball out. They will come up occasionally, not all the time, but when they do, the bat obviously will finish fairly quickly. Don't worry about the blue reading there. We'll talk about those later. There is another section where there's a possible running game on ground balls or fly balls. Now, on the section of the facts that I'll send to you if you request the game, that'll be around the other side. So the running game part will be at the front and the ground ball will be at the second part. I'll talk about the running game a little bit later. But in regard to the ground ball result, the ground ball result will still stand. It just will be there could be a stolen base attempt or a pick-off before the ground ball. But again, we'll talk about that later. Ground ball fly ball is a mechanism to get double plays involved in the game. There are some double plays on the ground ball section, obviously. Those can be straight double plays dependent on fielders, double plays dependent on base runners and their speed, either their base running or their jump, which is their speed, or on the pitcher's hold rating as well. But on this section here, in the ball in play section, we see we have 0 through 4. What we need to do is get the cards. And I'll get a couple of guys here. The batter and the pitcher both have GDP ratings, or the grounded into double play ratings. On the pitcher's card over here, you can see halfway up his second section, Jack McDowell's got a 1. Frank Thomas has got a 1 over here on his section. So a 1 plus a 1 is a 2. We'd come over here and we can see that it's a 4-6-3. If there's a runner on first, less than 2 outs, 4-6-3. If there's a runner on first, 2 outs, just a 4-6. If there's nobody on, 4-3. See if we can get another batter here. I've got Jim Thome. Jim Thome, obviously McDowell is a 1. Jim Thome is a ground ball double play of a 2. That's a 3. Over on this, it would be a 6-4-3. The higher the number here, the more likely it is a double play. 0 is always going to be fly balls. If you do see a result like an LDP, that basically means that it's a fly ball result. You would flip the fly ball card over. And say you came up here with a fly ball. I'll just get a couple of examples out. And now I can't find any of the other examples. It's getting a bit ridiculous. So say you came up with an F7. That's just a normal flyer to F7. You just take that fly out to left field. But if, say, you've got an L5, a line-out result, an L5 or an L9, that result, LDP, aligned in a double play question mark, you would then take the fielder on the check. So that's right field there, or that's third base there. You would then get their rating, their fielding rating, flip a card, and see if that rating comes up. So say, for instance, we've got Robin Ventura, who's over here. Now, Robin Ventura over here is a B- at third base. And we have that L5 possible double play card. We look at the fielding check, it's a D+. Robin Ventura is higher than that. Well then, if there's less than 2 outs, he takes a screaming liner and doubles up the lead runner. If, for instance, Robin Ventura is a B-, then gets a fielding check of A+, well, he's below that, so he doesn't get that double play. He'll just take the line drive the L5 and get the out there. So that's how that works. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just plus the ground ball double play of the pitcher to the hitter, almost like replay baseball style. This was what I was talking about when I was saying this is the only rating where it's not better for the batter if it's higher, better for the pitcher if it's lower. This is basically the higher it is, the double play. You add them together, the lower it is, there's no double play. So that's simply how the ground ball fly ball works. Any questions on that, just let me know. The main result on the ball in play is going to be something like this. It'll be in brackets. It'll be something from 2 to 30. So I might say 13 to 30 as it says there, or it could say 2 to 30, it could say 29 to 30. That's the batting grade. Might bring out, let's bring out Kenny Lofton for this one. Facing Jack McDowell. So we've got just past the outstretched glove of the second baseman, single to centre field. If not a single, it's a ground ball, and there's a jump rating if someone's got a jump of 130 plus. We want to check if the adjusted batting rating of Kenny Lofton is within the 13 to 30. If it is, it's a single. If it's outside of that, we've got a ground ball. So Kenny Lofton, with the bases empty, is a 20 with his batting. Trying to get my finger over there to show it. Jack McDowell, his pitching with the bases empty, is a +2. So it's 22 all up. 22 is between 13 and 30. It's a single. Now, if Jim Thome comes up, he's got an 11 batting. So an 11 batting is outside of that. It's underneath. So it'd be a ground ball normally. But because Jack McDowell gives him 2, it makes him a 13. He's just inside that range. He would get a single as well. See if I can find someone who's maybe a little bit less than that. Here we go. We've got, say Lance Johnson was the batter. Now I know they're the same team. He's a bases empty, batting of 10. Jack McDowell would give him a 2. That would make a 12. 12's not within the 13 to 30 range. It's a ground ball. Simple as that. That's how you get singles in the game. Now, singles can also happen on ballparks and fielding checks and ballpark action checks. But we'll go over all of those a little bit later on in another video. That's the main result for hits. So if you get that down, it's pretty easy. It's batting versus pitching. Batting versus pitching is basically a singles battle. And if it's in the brackets, it's within the numbers within the brackets, it's a single. Otherwise, it's the out in the brackets. And then you go and get the out. Doubles. Now, doubles and power and also single results, you get the results the same way in terms of how you get to their rating. Obviously, you're looking at different things though. For doubles, if we have a look at a double, nice pitch to drive into the alley, he's either going to get that pitch, hit it for a double, or he's going to hit it for a fly ball. We look at Jim Thome with bases empty. He's got doubles ratings of 70 or 70%. Jack McDowell has got a double adjustment of +5. So he would take him up to a 75 or a 75% again in a double with balls in play, bases empty, if a double check comes up. A little bit less with the men on base, 49, but Jack McDowell really bears down with the men on base. He's a -15, so he takes that 49 to a 34. So with men on, it's a 34% only. If the bases were empty, it's a 75%. A really big discrepancy between the two ratings when these two batters come up. Again, let's grab Frank Thomas, who's an insane hitter, and we'll also grab Dennis Martinez from the Indians to make it a different team versus a different team. Okay, so we got doubles with the bases empty, 56. for Frank Thomas, we've got a 0 adjustment, so a 56% chance. Again, you're rolling the two 10-sided dice for 100. With men on, 90, so 90% chance, but that's adjusted down 15 to a 75% chance for Dennis Martinez. So 75% chance. It's, again, another big difference there. Not all pitchers will be like that. Not all hitters are obviously this good. Power's exactly the same. So here we got one. Hit high into the air, power. Now, that's a fly ball if the power check doesn't happen. Okay, so over here, Frank Thomas had a really good year in the strike shortened season, 38 home runs in 113 games. With no men on, he's got a 93% chance of hitting a home run. So it's almost guaranteed. Martinez, though, will take 5% of those chances away to make him an 88. Once at 88 would be a home run. Men on, 51% for Frank Thomas. Still over half the chance to get a home run. But again, Martinez takes that 15 off him, takes him down to 36%. If you've got guys with negative 10s, negative 15s, negative 20s, doubles or power ratings, as a pitcher, it makes a huge difference. So that's simply how the doubles check happens, the power check happens, the triple check is exactly the same as well. So those checks are all out of 100. It's exactly the same as the hit by pitch, except when you hit by pitch, if it doesn't happen, you put the ball in play. If it doesn't happen on these checks, you basically have the out in the brackets. In all cases except the next scenario. And we've got a couple of these scenarios. Now, there's more scenarios than this, but the one on the top is a power check. Okay, so a power check would happen. You do the power check versus the power adjustment, get that rating, roll on it 1 to 100. If it's within, it's a home run. If it's not, what's the result after the power there? It's a single. Now, this is not a conditional check for the single. So if the power doesn't happen, it's definitely a single. And if the person then has a jump rating from 75 plus, he would then try and steal second and then third after that. Not many people do have a jump 75 plus, obviously. So power check, home run, no home run, it's a single. You see this result, you know it's a hit straight away. It's just what type of hit. Does he go the distance? Does he hit it out of here? Or is it just going to be a long single? The one underneath is a little bit more conditional. So he's getting a pitch to drive, and if he gets it, it's going to bounce all the way to the wall. We first check the batter's triple rating. Now, Frank Thomas has got no triple rating. I'll see if I can find Kenny Lofton. Now, a triple rating itself is the only batter's rating that is not adjusted by the pitcher. When I made the game, I thought there's not a lot of triples. I don't want to have a pitcher adjusting too much, especially if they didn't give up a triple at all. Like if they had like a negative 30 for a triple versus Lofton's 55, not really fair on Lofton because there's not enough of them. Now, that's not to say if you wanted to make your own house rule, you could probably take the doubles adjustment and just adjust it by that if you wanted to. But for me, I feel like triples shows a lot of times a side of pretty good speed. Not all the time, obviously, but a lot of the time it will. If you have like a Shohei Ohtani come up, he's probably going to have a good triple rating. He's going to hit a few triples. So Kenny Lofton, when the triple comes up, 45% triple rating with bases empty, 41% with men on. Simple as that, roll with that. If you've got the conditional check, you want to roll for the triple first. If Kenny Lofton doesn't get that triple, then you want to roll on Kenny Lofton's doubles ratings. So yeah, he might have got the pitch and driven it, but just not enough for a triple. He's into second with a double. If he doesn't get the double, so if both rating checks fail, it would just be a fly ball. Now the main one that will come up in that case will be a double/single. So double, check the double rating. If it's not a double, it'll become a single. But pretty easy. If you've got something like that, if it's got a question mark after it, you have to look at their rating. And if their rating fails, you go to the next one. If there's 2 question marks on it, you would check both of them. And if they both fail, it's a fly ball. If the first fails and the second passes, you've got a second one, so a double in this case. If the first passes, we don't have to look at a double, it's a triple. So whatever the greater one is that passes, that's what you've got. Now the batter's cards are adjusted. So if someone like Kenny Lofton comes up, it's adjusted to say that he's going to get 45% of the triples on all the cards that have this triples doubles on it. 41 with men on. So they're all adjusted. So people who hit power more, say Frank Thomas comes up. If Frank Thomas was to come up here and he has that power / single rating, he's got a 93% chance of hitting power. That's going to take away a lot of singles for him. So the way the engine is now correcting that is we then add this single rating onto his batting rating. So those singles will come back to him. The ones he misses out on here will come back to him over here. So that evens the cards back up again. So that's conditional checks on different checks, like is it a triple or a double? Is it a home run? Is it a double? Things like that. Pretty self-explanatory. Any questions? Shoot us a message. The next one is the fielding check. We'll go into fielding a little bit more later. But basically what happens is you get a fielding check here. You then flip another card. You get another card. You look under the fielding section. This will tell you whether it'll be hit or not. Now, fielding will come up 10 times every 100 balls in play, on average. And the fielding is basically set up to have a league average 50%. So 50% of the time the fielding check will be made. Now, obviously the individual players' fielding ratings are different to that. They can go anywhere from 2% making the play to 92%. But on average, 50% of the time. So out of those 10 out of 100, 5 hits should come on average fielding check. 4 of those hits will be singles. 1 of those hits will be a double. The pitcher's cards themselves, they're adjusted for their defense. So if, say Cleveland, I'm not sure exactly if they've got a good defense or not, but if Cleveland had a really good above average defense, well, then we'd have to add to these ratings. So an average pitcher is 0-0. Say an average pitcher is 0-0 here, or 0-0 on doubles. If they've got better defense, his card may have pluses on that because he gives up a little bit more hits, but his defense helps him out and takes it away to make him average. It works the other way as well. If your defense is terrible or worse, his ratings will be a little bit lower because his defense is not going to help him out. And on the defensive checks, there are going to be a lot more hits against him on the defensive checks. So we have to make his ratings lower to get his on base against correct. So his opponent's batting average more in the correct way. It's all adjusting each other, and you'll see good defense work well, but it'll still keep the statistics right in line. We'll have a look at fielding a little bit more later. Now, ballparks. Ballparks, you roll at the 2 10-sided dice. It gives you a number between 1 and 100. If you get an out or an outside the range, it's going to be either the ground ball or the fly ball, whichever the out is after that. We'll go into ballparks a little bit later, but I'll just quickly show a ballpark. If you've seen some of the other videos, you'll see them. Every club has their own ballpark. It's got a 0 to 0 through to 79. That 0, 0, you can either have a 0 if you're rolling the 2 dice, or you can have 100 if you're rolling if you've got a 1 to 100 rating. But you'll have a look at the ballpark. You'll have a look at the check there. Sometimes it's just a single. Other times you'll have to do another roll against the player card ratings. For doubles and power, the player card ratings come into play on those things. There's also some ballpark action things that will come up from them. That's pretty much the balls in play. It's a fairly simple system once you play for a little bit. You have the 1 to 100 system, which is the main thing, again, for doubles, triples, home runs. You have the singles hitting system, which is the pitching versus the batting rating, which obviously is a rating between 1 and 30. The card will tell you from that adjusted rating whether you've got the single or not. And then you have like the fielding and the ballparks. Any questions on any of that? Let me know.